Every day, as I've outlined, there is another spending announcement. Now, Gough Whitlam was regarded as the gold medalist of expenditure, going into debt, promises that couldn't be afforded. In 1974, his budget increased spending by 24.7%. People thought that's a record that'll never be broken. Treasurer Keane broke it, cheered on by Dominic Perrottet. Indeed, Treasurer Keane described the budget last year as a once-in-a-generation reform budget for New South Wales. He said, "We're betting on our kids." You bet you are. We're tying the debt albatross around their necks. But then Matt Keane's going to save the planet. So the budget had annual expenditure of $10 billion on so-called green energy programs to reduce global surface temperatures by decimal point 0.00 and add whatever naught you like. Subsidise the construction of childcare centres, a federal responsibility. Oh yes, $800 million in self-determination funding for Aboriginal affairs. The spending goes on and on. Nothing to reform the education system. 15-year-old students are 4 years behind China in maths, 3.5 years behind in science, 1.5 years behind New South Wales school children of 20 years ago. Our TAFE colleges look like industry archaeology of the 1970s. A $6 billion blowout on the Chatswood to Bankstown Metro, a $475 million blowout on the first stage of the Parramatta Light Rail. Come on, is this economic management? $3 billion in subsidies for so-called green hydrogen, a gift to billionaires who talk this nonsense. $1.5 billion in subsidies for electric vehicles when most New South Wales voters can't afford one. $10,000 from music busker for staff morale at the Department of Primary Industries Zoom meetings. $56,000 for Treasury staff to go to a woke SBS inclusion course described by Mark Latham as, quote, basically propaganda, teaching them how to hate Australia. And that's before we start talking about this transport asset holding entity set up by Treasurer Berejiklian in 2015. Perrottet and Keane were members of that cabinet. It was designed to artificially boost the New South Wales budget by billions of dollars by shifting rail expenses into a shell entity. There was an investigation into all of this, and it prompted the former Auditor General Tony Harris to call this outfit, Transport Asset Holding Entity, a vehicle of deception. So the government was panicked into writing down the value of this corporation, this vehicle of deception, by $20 billion and then injecting billions of your money into the Rail Corporation at the end of 2021. Labor's shadow treasurer, Daniel Mookhey, said the government had spent a fortune hiring spin doctors, about $34.5 million, over 4 years to, quote, cover up their mistakes, unquote. Look, no objective commentator could argue with that conclusion. On a range of fronts, this has not been a good government. The last thing Premier Perrottet should be doing is suggesting that running a state budget like a school tuck shop is something to be despised. For my money, it would be a better economic model than the absurdly spendthrift New South Wales government that we've seen and continue to witness. I'm saying to voters, be careful. This is your money. No one should be elected on promises that merely escalate the debt. The Labor leader, Chris Minns, is running on the slogan, a fresh start for New South Wales. I agree with the slogan. Who's going to deliver it? But there's an arrogance about this current government which asks us to believe that they should be allowed to keep going as they are. Someone has to say that what has been done is unacceptable and things have to be done better. If Dominic Perrottet wants the voter to elect a Liberal government, it should first start trying to implement Liberal philosophy.